All right, let's just jump right in. Picture this. You're at a busy train station, maybe on your way home. You're waiting on the platform, probably scrolling through your phone, right? But have you ever stopped and looked around and noticed just how many people are standing right on the edge? Way over that yellow line? It seems like such a simple rule to follow, but for some reason it gets ignored all the time. Well, we're about to unpack a really fascinating study that dives deep into that exact question, right in the heart of Kuala Lumpur.
So, Kuala Lumpur's urban rail system, it's really a modern marvel. For millions of people, the MRT and LRT, they're not just some convenient way to get around. Nope. They are the absolute lifeline of the city, weaving through its core, connecting communities. I mean, they're the pulse of the whole place.
And this progress isn't just a local win for KL. It actually ties directly into a much bigger global vision, the United Nations goal for safe, accessible, and sustainable transport for literally everyone. And as our cities keep growing and these transit systems get bigger and better, the real challenge becomes making sure every single one of those journeys is safe. That's what becomes the number one priority. But here's the thing. While the trains themselves are getting more high-tech and more reliable than ever, the operators, Prasarana and KTMB, they've noticed this stubborn problem. And it has nothing to do with the machines. It has everything to do with us, the passengers. We're still seeing incidents like falls, slips, people blocking the doors. It just keeps happening. And this brings us to the central mystery of this whole thing, something researchers call the platform safety paradox. And put simply, it's this really puzzling and kind of dangerous gap between knowing the rules and actually following them. Why do we know it's unsafe, but we do it anyway? I mean, at first glance, things can look pretty okay, right? People are waiting, they seem to know the drill, they're aware of the general safety rules. The whole system is designed to keep people flowing smoothly and safely. But then, you see this. Despite bright yellow lines, constant announcements, and signs everywhere, this kind of unsafe behavior is just all too common. People crowding the edge, rushing the doors, totally distracted. So the really crucial question is, why? Why does this happen over and over again? And that is the heart of the problem. It's this disconnect between awareness and actual compliance. It tells us that just running another safety campaign or putting up more signs, well, it's just not enough. The message is out there, but for some reason, it's not sticking. It's not translating into safer behavior where it matters most, right there on the platform. Now look, we know about global best practices. We know that things like platform screen doors and clear communication, they work. They've been proven to reduce accidents. And we also know that human factors, like being glued to our phones or feeling the pressure of a huge crowd, they definitely play a role. But what we don't know is what's happening specifically in the Klang Valley. That is the missing piece of the puzzle. So this all leads us to the central question of this whole research project. What is the specific relationship between what a passenger knows is safe and what they actually do right here in Kuala Lumpur's one-of-a-kind system? Answering this question, well, that's the key to unlocking a safer commute for every single one of us. So how do you find an answer to a question like that? Well, you launch an investigation. And that's exactly what this research study is. It's a deep dive into the human side of platform safety, trying to finally crack the code of our behavior as commuters. And the plan they have is super clear and systematic. Step 1, figure out what people actually know about the safety rules. Step 2, watch and evaluate what they actually do on the platform. Step 3, find the statistical link between those two things. And finally, step 4, use all that data to come up with smarter, more effective strategies. And what's really fascinating here is that the researchers aren't just kind of watching and taking notes. No, they're testing very specific ideas or hypotheses. For example, they're trying to see if things like yellow lines directly make us behave safer, or if it's our awareness of those things that really makes the difference. They're also testing just how much human factors, like being distracted by our phones or feeling squished by a crowd, directly make us do unsafe things, no matter what the rules say. Okay, so let's get into the detective work. How exactly are the researchers gathering all their clues? Well, it all comes down to a really smart combination of broad surveys and what I like to call sidewalk science. Just good old-fashioned direct observation. Their method is basically a two-pronged attack. First, they cast a really wide net with surveys to get the big picture from a ton of people. And then they zoom way in with these in-depth, on-the-ground observations to see what's really going on. And this is where the approach gets really powerful. The surveys, they capture what people say they do, but the field observations, they capture what people actually do. And comparing those two sets of data, That's how they're going to get to the truth.
And they're not doing this in some sterile lab. This research is happening right in the real world. The observation team will be setting up shop at some of the absolute busiest interchange stations in the city. We're talking KL Central, Pasar Seni, Masjid Jamak, and Bandar Tasik Selatan. They'll be there watching and recording how we all behave during both the crazy peak hours and the quieter off-peak times.
So, what's the ultimate payoff here? Why does solving this mystery matter so much? Well, it's all about creating a real blueprint for a genuinely safer commute for every single passenger. The results of this study have two huge benefits. On one hand, for the academic world, it fills a major knowledge gap, giving us the first real, hard numbers on this issue in Malaysia. And then for the rest of us in the real world, it gives operators like Prasarana and the Ministry of Transport actual, concrete insights they can use to make real changes.
This means the study is going to create a data-driven profile of Kuala Lumpur's rail users. It means we can stop guessing what might work. It's about creating evidence-based recommendations to build smarter, more effective safety campaigns that are focused on our behavior and actually connect with people.
And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. The path forward isn't just more of the same old thing. It's about moving away from those generic safety announcements we all tune out and moving towards targeted, data-driven interventions. It's about finally understanding the why behind our actions so we can truly change our behavior and build a safer journey for everyone. And, the real question this leaves us with is, once we know why we take these little risks, will we be willing to change?